Picture this. Your alarm goes off late. You throw on your clothes, run out the door, and sprint to the bus stop, just in time to watch the bus pull away without you. Now, what do you say to the person standing next to you? Not in your head, but out loud, in English, in that exact moment of frustration. That's the kind of English we're here to talk about today. The thing is, nobody teaches you that in a classroom. You'll learn grammar rules, memorize vocabulary lists, and practice writing formal paragraphs. But then real life happens, and suddenly all of that feels like it belongs to a different world entirely. And I think that disconnect is one of the most frustrating experiences a language learner can have. You've put in the work, you know the rules. And yet, when someone catches you off guard with a casual question or an unexpected phrase, your brain goes completely blank.
Welcome to the Daily English Conversation Club. I'm Leo, and alongside my co-host Zara, we explore the kind of English that actually lives in everyday life. Not in textbooks, not in formal exercises, but in the moments that make up your actual day. Today's topic is one we feel really passionate about: daily life situations. Because Zara is absolutely right. This is where most learners hit a wall. They've studied hard, they understand the theory, but the moment someone says something like, "Hey, can you cover for me?" they just freeze up completely. And here's what I always say. It's not a failure of intelligence or effort. It's simply a gap in exposure. Nobody showed them that kind of English. The situational stuff. The in-between the grammar lessons stuff. That's what we're going to dig into today.
So let's get into it. Daily life is absolutely packed with these little language moments. Going to a cafe, calling a doctor's office, chatting with a neighbor, trying to complain about something without coming across as rude, or asking for help without sounding completely lost. And what's fascinating is that each of those situations has its own little language world. The way you talk at a coffee shop is genuinely different from how you'd speak in a job interview. Even the energy is different. One is casual and quick, the other is measured and careful. The biggest mistake I see learners make, and I say this with complete kindness, is using the same formal register in every situation. So they walk into a cafe and say something like, "Excuse me, I would like to make a request for 1 coffee, please." And the barista just stares. I mean, it's technically correct, but it sounds like you're writing a formal email, not ordering a flat white.
That disconnect between what's grammatically correct and what sounds socially natural, that's exactly where the frustration lives. Learners think they're doing something wrong, but they're not. They've just never been shown enough real situations to calibrate their language to the moment. And the good news is, once you start recognizing these situations, once you have a handful of phrases that just feel right in context, everything clicks. You stop translating in your head and start responding naturally. That's the gap we want to close today. Not by overwhelming you with rules, but by giving you real, usable phrases for real, everyday moments.
I want to share a story about a friend of mine. She'd been learning English for about 2 years, really dedicated, genuinely smart, and she traveled to London alone for the first time. Very exciting, right? She gets to her hotel and there's a problem with her room. The air conditioning isn't working. Simple issue, easy fix. But she told me later that she stood at the reception desk for a full 3 minutes just trying to build the perfect sentence in her head. That silence, where your brain is loading, I think so many learners know exactly what that feels like. What she ended up saying was something like, "The machine for cold air in my room is not functioning." The staff understood her perfectly. They were lovely about it, but she felt embarrassed. She felt like she should have had better words for something so simple.
And here's the thing. What she needed wasn't more grammar. She didn't need a lesson on modal verbs or conditional sentences. She simply needed the phrase, "Excuse me, I think there might be an issue with my room. The air conditioning doesn't seem to be working." That's it. 6 words of context and 1 calm, clear description. When you hear it out loud, it sounds so simple. But if you've never heard it used in a real situation, if you've never seen it modeled in context, how on earth are you supposed to know it? You're not. And that's the whole point of what we do here. Language isn't just vocabulary and grammar, it's also confidence. And I really believe that daily life situations are the exact moments where your confidence in English either grows or quietly crumbles.
All right, let's get very specific, because that's where the real learning happens. We're going to walk through a few of the most common daily situations you'll find yourself in, and give you the kind of language that actually fits each one. Let's start with something everyone deals with: making requests. In English, how you ask for something genuinely changes everything. You can make the same request 5 different ways and get 5 very different reactions from the other person. Imagine you're at work and you need a colleague's help. You could say, "Do this for me." Technically communicates the need, but it can easily come across as demanding, even rude, depending on the tone. Or you could say, "Could you help me with something when you get a chance?" Completely different energy. Same need, completely different impact.
And that phrase, when you get a chance, is doing so much quiet work in that sentence. It's telling the other person, I'm not demanding this right now. Take your time. I respect your schedule. It removes pressure. People respond so much more warmly to that kind of framing. In any setting, office, school, shop, a neighbor's door, using that kind of language makes people actively want to help you. It's not just politeness for its own sake. It's actually strategic. It gets you better results in real interactions. I love thinking of it as strategic politeness. You're not being soft, you're being smart. You're choosing language that creates goodwill, and goodwill is currency in daily life.
Now let's talk about phone calls. Because for so many learners, phone calls feel like the final boss of English. And I completely understand why. When you're face to face with someone, you have body language, facial expressions, hand gestures. You can say, "Sorry, can you say that again?" and point to your ear. On the phone, it's just sound, pure audio, no visual backup at all. And here's the cruel irony: the anxiety makes it worse. When you're nervous, your vocabulary shrinks. Your brain, which normally does an impressive job of finding words, suddenly empties out at exactly the moment you need it most. So here's what I always recommend. Before any phone call you're dreading, prepare 2 or 3 rescue phrases in advance. You don't need a full script, just a few anchors. Something like, "I'm sorry, could you say that again a little more slowly?" Or, "Let me just make sure I understood correctly. You said," and then repeat back what you heard. Native speakers do this all the time. It's not a sign of weak English. It's a sign of careful communication.
Another phrase I absolutely love for calls and meetings is, I just want to confirm. It's so clean and professional. I just want to confirm our appointment is at 3. I just want to confirm this is the right address. It signals that you're attentive, organized, and serious about getting things right. And practically speaking, these phrases protect you. Misunderstandings in daily life cost you time, energy, sometimes money. A missed appointment because you mishear a time. A wrong address because you didn't double check. These small phrases are actually doing important work. You know, Leo had a funny story about this. Leo, tell them about the electricity company call.
Oh, I was hoping you'd forgotten about that. So I was living in a new city, brand new place, and my power went out. I had to call the electricity company for the first time ever in English. I was so nervous that I actually wrote notes beforehand. I had a little script on a sticky note. I call, I get through to someone, I start going through my prepared explanation, and then they put me on hold for 10 full minutes. When they came back, the first thing they asked was, "Sorry about that, can I take your account number?" And I gave them the completely wrong number. I was so rattled that I misread my own handwriting. But here's the lesson I took from it. I actually knew the language. The words were there. What I didn't know was the process, what a call like that typically looks like, what they'd ask, in what order. I wasn't prepared for the structure of the situation. And once you've been through a situation once or twice, it stops being scary because you know the shape of it.
That's such an important point, and I want our listeners to really hold on to it. Sometimes what feels like a language problem is actually just an unfamiliarity with the situation itself. You haven't been in that scenario before, possibly in any language. The issue isn't your English, it's simply that you've never navigated that particular experience. And the solution isn't grammar drills, it's exposure. It's doing the thing, even awkwardly the first time, so that the second time feels familiar. Every experience you have in English, even the uncomfortable ones, is building your mental map of how these situations work.
And the fourth step. What can you do today? Right now, today. That's your small goal. Maybe today you learn 5 vocabulary words for your job. Maybe today you tell one story about your weekend in English, out loud, just to yourself in the mirror. Maybe today you write 2 sentences in English in a journal. Whatever it is, it's connected to your dream. It's a real step toward that mountaintop.
I want to give you some tips for making this easier. First, be specific with numbers. Don't say some or a little. Say 5 words, 10 minutes, 2 sentences. Numbers make goals real. Second, connect your goal to a time and place. Instead of, I'll practice English later, say, I'll practice English at 8 p.m. after dinner at my desk. The more specific you are, the more likely you are to actually do it.
And here's something important for your tone and your attitude. Be kind to yourself. If you miss a day, if you don't hit your small goal one time, that's completely okay. Don't say, I failed, I'm terrible, I give up. Say, I missed one day. Tomorrow, I start again. That's the attitude of someone who actually achieves their dreams. Be your own best coach, not your own worst critic.
Can you say that out loud right now? Say, I missed one day. Tomorrow, I start again. Seriously, say it out loud. Speaking English out loud, even at home alone, is one of the best things you can do for your fluency. And those words are true. One missed day is nothing. One missed day is just one missed day. So we've now covered the 4-step process. Dream, 1-year goal, 1-month goal, today's goal. Use this process and you will always know exactly what to do next.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the episode, common mistakes. And honestly, Gacrux and I have made all of these mistakes ourselves, so don't feel embarrassed if you recognize yourself in any of these. We've all been there. These are the 4 most common mistakes people make with goals.
Mistake number 1, making goals too big, too fast. This is when someone says, I will speak perfect English in 1 month. That's not a goal, that's a wish. A realistic goal for 1 month might be, I will learn 150 new words this month. Or, I will finish 1 English audiobook this month. See the difference? The mistake is dreaming when you should be planning. The fix is to make it smaller and more specific.
Mistake number 2, having a goal but no system. A system means the daily habits that support your goal. For example, if your goal is to read more English, your system is, every morning I open an English article with my coffee. The goal tells you where you want to go. The system is what actually gets you there. Without a system, a goal is just a nice idea that you forget about by Wednesday.
Mistake number 3, comparing your progress to other people. This one is so common, and social media makes it so much worse. You see someone online who speaks English perfectly, and you think, I'll never be that good. But you don't know their story. You don't know how many years they practiced. You don't know how many mistakes they made. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. Are you better than yesterday? Then you're winning.
And mistake number 4, waiting until you feel ready. Here's a hard truth. You will never feel completely ready. There will always be a reason to wait. I'll start next Monday. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I feel more confident. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. You become confident by doing things, even when you're scared. So don't wait. Start small. Start today.
Let's do a quick practice. I'll say a sentence, and you decide if it's a good goal or a mistake. Ready? Sentence 1. I will be fluent in English next month. Is that a good goal? No, it's too big and too vague. Better version. I will practice English listening for 20 minutes every day this month. Sentence 2. I will write one English diary entry every Sunday evening. Is that a good goal? Yes. Specific, realistic, with a time and a day. You've got this. You're not making these mistakes anymore.
And remember, mistakes are not failures. They're information. Every mistake tells you something. This approach isn't working. Let me try a different one. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who keep adjusting and keep going. You are one of those people. I really believe that.
Absolutely. You've been listening and learning this whole episode. That tells us something important about you. You're committed. You're curious. You're the kind of person who achieves their goals. So take those 4 mistakes, avoid them, and watch what happens. You're going to be amazed at what you can do with small, consistent steps.